Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I don't know why my
what do you call it? These things aren't.
Oh, that ear.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna mute it and then I'm gonna go
See
if I can figure this out.
Do you know a Jennifer O'Neill?
No.
Okay.
Do I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't know if she should be promoted or not. That name's not on the list.
To a panelist?
Yeah.
No, she's not
No.
a panelist.
Okay.
That much I know.
Perfect. Thank you. I had the list, so I figured it was up to date, but thank you.
Right. Oh, Lord above, help me with these Bluetooth things.
I have someone calling in. I'm just gonna see who it is. Let's see.
Okay.
Hi, who's calling in under the number?
Good morning, ladies. Norris Hawkins. How are you?
Oh, great. How are you? Perfect.
Good.
Let me promote you. Awesome.
Everybody good?
Everyone's good. I think we're just kind of figuring out the headphone situation. Did you get it?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I heard.
Technology these days.
I think I'm gonna have to move to the other room because these things are not connecting, and because we're on Zoom, these don't connect. So I'll be right back.
All right, I'm here.
All right.
Let's see.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
You can hear me. Great. Are you Jennifer?
I am, yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you also.
Are you in the office or at home, or how's this working for you?
I'm home. I go in the office on Mondays.
Okay.
So thank you all for.
What area of the state are you in?
I'm in Berlin.
Okay.
So not too far.
There you go.
Thank you all for bearing with me as I kind of help with the transition until someone else gets.
You're jumping in.
Yes, best I can.
Jumping in on all the other commissions.
Yes.
Okay. You are keeping busy then.
Oh yeah, it's. I've learned a lot and I'm keeping busy, so that's always good.
Well, welcome and thank you for your assistance.
Of course.
Good morning, Norris.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Linda will not be joining us. We've received a note a few minutes ago, and I've just gotten off the phone with her. Some medical things must be addressed with today.
Okay.
So this is just
as long as we have 4, we're good.
Yep.
You had 2 minutes to start the shindig.
Yeah. Good morning,
How
Vicky.
was your holidays? Good?
They were fine. They were
Did
there.
all the last work?
Good morning, how are you?
Before the year?
Fine, thank you, Vicky.
Good
What's that,
morning.
Norris? I'm so sorry.
A lot of busy work before the year ends for you
Yes.
guys over there?
Yes, yes. Okay. As we know that Linda will not be joining us, have we heard if Shauna will be joining us? As we currently have myself, John, and Norris on.
I haven't heard any information.
Yes, okay. John, could you do me a favor? Could you ping or just see if Shauna's going to be joining us? Could you send a note? Thank you. Vicky, I need a legal ruling, please. If I may, could you go off mute for a moment?
I'm here. I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Thank you. Under the rules, as and I need a reminder, we have 5 sitting commission members. Do we need 3 or 4 to be able to move forward today?
A majority. So I
So
would say three.
if we have 3, then we're okay.
Yeah, you should be fine with 3 because that's the majority. Yeah.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back here. I
Good
couldn't get
morning.
connected to the internet in the other room, so make do. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year.
And to you and yours. John, will she be joining us as we do have enough for a quorum to begin?
Her mailbox was full, so I'm just texting her now. I
Okay,
think she may have said something last month that she might not be here this month.
okay. You may be right, but Vicky has informed us that we do have enough. So that being said, Jennifer, if you could please start recording if you're not already, and we will start our first meeting of 2023, January 11th, 2023. It's approximately 8:32 in the East. And welcome everybody. And I hope the holidays were all good for all, and wishing everyone a very healthy and happy 2023. Let's move forward here. We'll call to order. We have the review of the previous minutes meetings. Please note, excuse me for the record, that Commissioner Sepso will not be able to join us today. And thank you. Okay, review of the meeting minutes of December 14th, 2022. Are there any additions, revisions, changes? Whatever you'd like to do.
Go
ahead.
There's one change. Deb, I got this right, Deb? I don't have them in front of me, but there was the one where Norris made a motion and then Norris seconded it. It has to be one or the other, right?
Yep. I'm looking here, John.
Did I read it right? Deb, you know where it is?
That was number 5.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Does anyone recall who, if Norris made the motion, who seconded it?
Do we have the recording?
I'm sure we do. We can pass this, John, if there are any subject to, going back, listening to the recording and making the edit. Or we could then table this. Why don't we table this until next meeting? Gives everybody a quick chance to take, everyone was hustling with the holidays and so forth. Is that okay, John and Norris?
Yes, that's fine with me.
I'm good.
Okay, so we are going to table the minutes. We will put it on the February, just to double check on that when anyone gets a moment. Okay, we've been in so many transition things. So, all right then. Thank you. All right. Let me get into, and again, I'm just trying to, because I think we have a presentation here today, so I want to make sure we get through a few things here. On the coursework, was there any issues that we should be aware of or comments that were put forth under school and courses approval?
I'm just looking at it. No, I mean, everything on here in this grid is as it's written.
Okay,
The only thing that, which I put under new business, which I guess could be in the course category, would be number 2 on the agenda. Calypso is seeking approval for the quiz questions they developed. I believe I sent them out to you
Yes, we
guys.
did. Why don't
Okay.
we will touch that when we get into new business. Okay,
Okay.
I thought that was very good of you to put that under as a separate line item from the balance. So I want to thank you for doing that. Okay.
The thing, well, thank you. The other thing too is that we had an inquiry from the people at for the 2023 Appraisers Conference and Trade Show in April 2023. That's going to be in Sacramento, California. And I didn't put it on the agenda, but I'm just letting you know because I'm waiting for materials. They wanted to know if any of the courses that they offer during that conference, if they would qualify for continuing ed in Connecticut. So I asked them to send me course information so you guys could review it. And they said they would, but I haven't received anything yet.
Okay, then that goes to February's meeting.
Okay.
All right. Back on the agenda, school and courses, since we have everything here, are hearing no edits or changes to what is on the agenda, may I receive a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Norris has made the motion.
I'll second it.
John seconds. Discussion among commission members? Comments or discussion among staff? Discussion or comments from the general public? Hearing none, then I will call this to order. Ayes,
Aye.
Aye.
nays, abstentions, so we pass that. Great. All right, we have addressed the schools and courses. All right, then, now I'm going to go back in here. The DCP Investigation Division Complaint Report Update.
Yes, we've got we've got 13 complaints. A couple were closed, 3 were opened. Where's my book? I wrote it down here. Oh, here it is. Got it. Yeah, 13 in total, 2 bias, 3 fraud, 1 AMC, 5 value, 1 credit card, and 1 unethical appraiser slash salesperson.
Okay. You're
like that.
able to start attacking here, correct? I guess I know you are trying to get into a rhythm and so forth, with all the other things being thrown at you here. But did these just come in December, or we're just cleaning up things? So we're up to 13 now?
Yes.
Okay.
So can I get a quick question on I know we can't discuss any of the open ones, but on the closed ones, can we get a quick review of what they were? Vicky, can,
Yes, we can and should.
Yeah, you can talk about the nature of the case type without giving into specifics if they're closed, sure.
They were compliance, CE compliance.
Okay.
Okay.
The last month, as you look in the minutes, we, you know, as we push forward, we had under this investigation, there were 11 that had been closed, and we were to get more detail on that. And it says the department to look into the matter. Is that something that you are in a position to discuss with the commission now, or is that
No.
something that needs to be?
No, I can't. I will mark it down for February to give you an update on the closed
Okay.
closed cases from when? From November?
Well,
November forward, what?
I'm looking at the December minutes, although we didn't approve them because, you know, we're going to look at it. We had quite a discussion on this matter, and I know my notes said that there were 11 cases that had been closed, and we were, and it says the department is to look into the matter, meaning to give us a report of what they constituted and so forth. And maybe with
I
the
did not.
holidays, you just didn't get to it here. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to ask, did you get a copy of the proposed decisions for you to sign?
I
Have you received-
received them. I saw them on the plane coming in from West Texas late last night. I have
Okay,
not
that's fair.
reviewed it
All
yet.
right.
Thank
As long as
you.
you have, them. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
I did. I did see that when the Delta Go Wi-Fi worked, probably someplace over in Tennessee, you know, where things started coming in. So I have not reviewed them yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are they, may I ask in general speaking here, and then we'll report back to fellow members of the commission, are they I assumed, and maybe you should never assume, that these were for from the CE audit?
Yes, these are from the CE audit that when you guys had made your determination, they just have to be written up formally, but yes,
Yeah, I will get those addressed and back to you folks. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. Are from the commission members, any questions or on this DC investigation division on the complaint report? Anything else to ask? Hearing none. Okay. From the members of the commission, anyone with the general public or staff? Okay. Thank you. And, you know, we'll be, you know, get more in the swing of then next month. That will be where we take it from. Okay, DCP Legal Division, update regarding open cases. Is there anything to be said?
I really don't have anything to add. I think what was said today is that we will provide, you know, a little bit more detail, the investigation. I don't have anything to add to those statements that were made thus far.
Okay. All right. I do have, it doesn't quite fit into here, but it is under the legal division, I believe. We've been waiting, we started discussing and we're promoting very hard in January of 2021, getting new members on the commission. And it was one of the complaints that was coming, or that was noted by our friendly folks out of DC, and they're coming to join us again. for merriment and happiness in a few months. Now that the election has come and gone and so forth, is there anything in the update that you know of or can share with us? Are they looking to fill the openings and vacancies? As Linda, who is not here today, has been a yeoman, heck, she's hung around 16 more months than she wanted. She gave us notice and trying to do a favor to hang in there. So anyway, go ahead.
The only thing that I can say is I did reach out to our deputy commissioner to provide her with some information about I'll say potential candidate. I did not hear back from her as of yet, but that information was forwarded to her. So she is aware, they are aware. We will send a gentle reminder again as the audit is, coming up in April, has been moved up from June. So we want to see, that this is addressed, but I don't have any other update in terms of that information.
I understand. Okay, at least if the minutes can note that we have brought this up, and I would like these reflected that we've had this discussion about the open board members. So I would like to see those in today's minutes that we have
Absolutely.
at least done an update here.
Okay, that's
Any
duly noted, as they say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John and Norris, any questions to add or subtract on that matter? Okay. Norris?
I would just think, Vicky, they're more worried about having a commissioner, correct? Have they picked a new commissioner? Vicky?
Yes, at this point in time, we, have been advised that we will be receiving a new commissioner at some point in time. I don't know when the transition will actually take place, but yes, so that's also a concern of the department, if you will. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Is the
Who's the
commissioner
acting-
still with us,
the
or
acting
did
right?
she resign? She's left.
The commissioner is still with us. We are in a period of transition. We are expecting a new commissioner. I don't know the timeline. It just said
Okay.
that a new commissioner was being appointed, and we are waiting that. We also had the sale of recreational marijuana start yesterday, so there you go. Any issues, get them addressed.
I will not say a word. Okay, I will leave that one. All right, thank you. ASC, appraisers report to National Registry. It says nothing. And anything, Debbie, to add? They're coming on April 23rd through the 28th. They're going to be here the whole week or just a few days, or you're not sure?
Well, those are just the days that Tom Lewis from ASC emailed me that they were planning their visit. So I don't know what their days entail, if it's going to be 1 or 2, or I have no idea, but we're blocked off for that week.
Okay. I make a suggestion here, and this may require a motion. I'm going to ask Vicky to again opine on legal. We are scheduled, as I'm looking at the back of this agenda, for April 12th. We typically, when our friendly folks out of DC come up, we switch our monthly meeting schedule to be that Wednesday within their time period. Do we need to make a motion now and then make reservations for rooms, or however we're going to do this and so forth, so we're keeping in legal and so on and so forth?
As long as the Secretary of State's office is, contacted within a timely manner, we should be fine. My thought is, and I can, follow up, if you will, with an investigation with Debbie as well, is to make sure that their plan is to have a meeting, because we don't know what their agenda is, only because, the new time frame and all of that. But my thought is, if the process is the same, such that they attend, excuse me, one of the meetings, the meeting, then we will make sure that we see which day works best for them, so we know when to, schedule it. I don't want to schedule if it's, on a Wednesday and they're leaving Wednesday morning. So let us find out a little bit more from
That's
them
fair.
in terms of what their timetable is, and then we'll know what day would be best to have the meeting.
I just don't want us to run afoul. That's all.
Right.
We're
No, I
raising it.
appreciate that, and we will get on that as well.
Okay,
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much.
very good. Members of the commission, anything on this topic on the ASC? Okay, very good. Okay, Old business. For the record, the commission voted on 12/14/22 meeting to accept the prior 2022 Connecticut appraisal law with supervisor provisional education until the schools can get the new course up and running on their respective websites. Is there anything to add to this or that we need to discuss why it's on the agenda?
We spoke about it at the last meeting,
Okay,
but then I had emailed you after the meeting with a question concerning this. So I just felt, since I emailed you after the meeting, I thought it best just to put it
fair, that's fair.
on the record.
With the question is so everyone is aware, and I'm trying to remember, as a lot has happened since we've last met here.
Mhm. Well, some of the schools, not all of the schools have applied yet. There's only a handful, less than a handful. I believe three schools have applied. So for those that didn't apply, that the students are choosing to reach out to take the course, they're still coming up with, the old one, the 2020-2022. So I just wanted to make sure that, I mean, I know what you told me, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure it was on the record that the students would get credit for that course, whether
Yeah.
it's the 2020-2022 or the current 3-hour that just rolled out in December.
Right. We had those discussions here, and they're going to have to, as this is going on here, and this as a sidebar, and I will say this, and John and Norris, feel free to jump in at any moment, or if Sean is with us as well, to jump in. And that is, we have given, not by no one on this call, but the rules changed that at a year from now, it's going to be a crazy next January, because January 31st is when CE's got to come in to Debbie and everyone there in Hartford. We gave a 2-year grace period, which is already passed, and now we're into this cycle here. We have promoted it. We have spoken on it in the Connecticut appraisal law classes. It has been a topic to bring up to everybody. You can't wait to April 30th. It's January 30th. We are doing everything we can, but when it comes to it, we're done. They've really had 3 years to get ready for this January 31st of 2024 to have you inundated with CE. So we're doing everything we can. And I applaud you, trying to stay on top of it. So Debbie, I, again, tip my hat to you of keeping on these things and trying to help these schools, but we can't do everything for them. They got to put in the paperwork. They've got to apply. We can lead, we've led the horse to water. They got to do the drinking. So we take it. John or Norris, anything to add or subtract or a different opinion?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Norris, you're okay?
I'm
Yes.
good.
Okay, thank you. All right then, number 2 under old business, Joseph Nardini, RCG applicant update regarding PSI test. Go ahead, the floor is yours, Debbie.
Actually, Joseph Nardini is supposed to be here.
He is here. Let me allow him to talk.
Okay,
Good morning.
good morning, sir. Are you able to, get on the video?
I have it on. I don't know why that. Let me see what's happening here.
I
Okay.
can,
If not, we can still move forward, okay? Mr. Nardini, and I hope I am not mispronouncing your last name. For the record, please, could you give your name, spelling out your last name and your your address of employment?
You're on mute, Joe.
see if I can ask him to unmute.
There, I got it. I got it. Joseph Nardini, Nardini, My business address is 9 Northford Road, Branford, Connecticut.
Okay. Good morning, and the floor is yours. It says update regarding PSI tests, so.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. I just wanted to update the commission because last month when I asked for that extension, I believe it was Commissioner Galvin asked me, is that enough time? It gave me, you guys very generously gave me 90 days. I hesitated to answer because it's good for me 90 days, but the availability of the test is not there. And I mentioned that last month, meaning this, when I went to go sign up this time, in that 90-day period, there's one exam available, and that's March 1st, just before the deadline. And I just wanted to update the commission on that, let them know that that's what's happening, because again, Commissioner Galvin seemed surprised at the lack of availability, I guess I would say.
I think Mr. Galvin's concerns are echoed by the balance of the members of the commission as well.
I want to add that, and you've already alluded to this, Commissioner Rasmussen, that Deb has been a very big help in this. All the stuff she's doing, and I know she's got a lot on her plate, but she actually tried to help me and walk me through it. And I think she might have something to add too, as far as the availability of PSI and how you access PSI. It's not easy. It's not an easy access.
Okay, Deb, the floor is yours on this matter.
Yeah, actually, you know, I tried to follow protocol with, you know, notifying licensing to, you know, give a call over or however they communicate over to PSI to confirm that Joe was actually approved on their list to make the appointment. And they did that a couple of times. I don't know what happened at PSI. So then when Joe called me up and told me of the struggles, I called PSI myself, and as you know, as if I were trying to make an appointment. And the phone loop was ridiculous. You know, press 1 to get here, then you get here, press 2 to get here, then it goes all the way back to the beginning. It was ridiculous. And then you just stay online forever and ever to wait for somebody to pick up. Nobody ever picked up. I finally gave up, and you know, just I wrote Joe. I'm like, Joe, I hear you. I just did the same thing, and you know, there's just nobody answering the phone over there. No communication as far as an email goes. I don't know. They're a private company, so I have no idea what their process is, other than from a person trying to make an appointment. It's just very frustrating and time consuming and with no result.
Go ahead, John. You go for it.
Dev is, so you did that and you got the same results as Joe, which we've heard from others. And then I just confused, did you then go back to somebody in the state? Because this is the same testing group that monitors the test for other licenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there somebody that must be a liaison between?
I did. I told you I contacted the liaison prior to me making the call twice to make sure that Joe hadn't fallen through the cracks somehow and that his name was actually sent over.
And what did the liaison say? I didn't catch that part.
She said that, yes, his name was sent over. Then she called over there to confirm, or I'm saying called, she contacted PSI to confirm that his name was on the list. And that was the end of it. The problem is that Joe could not get a person to talk to make an appointment because Jason Cohen had sent out an update stating, and it's on number 2 of old business, stating that if there's no time slots available, the tester can ask that PSI schedule an alternate date upon request. So the first step was to make sure that Joe was on the list, because they won't talk to anybody, obviously, if if we don't give them the names, that they've passed and they're approved to take the test. So that was confirmed. But the problem is getting a hold of somebody at PSI to actually speak to find out when the test date is, to talk about an alternate test date, as Jason Cohen said in his update email that he sent out. So that's where the problem lies. There's nobody answering a phone over there. And the loop, you press 1, you press 2, you press this, then you get back to the start. And I'm sure Joe, found it as frustrating.
So
Yeah.
what did our liaison say when you went back and told them
I
about?
did not. I just threw it on the agenda to talk to you guys about it. I mean, I don't really know what can be done about it because, as I said, as you know, we don't own PSI. They're the only deal in town, apparently. So I have no idea what the relationship is. I'm just identifying a problem that we're having with one of our appraisers trying to take a test to upgrade.
Right. So, well, to me, it seems like they're a contract vendor. I contract with various state agencies to do appraisals. I'm responsible for performing. So there must be somebody at the state who oversees that procedure, not just the liaison, but somebody else who makes sure that somebody's. Vicky, can you jump in here? Is there some group in the state that oversees when we have a contract that they're following through?
I'm sure there is some group. I don't know who that group is because I don't know. I can try and follow up to see, but I can say that PSI has been a vendor for quite some time with the department for all of the credential holders that take exams. The other thing is, a lot of it, I'm sure, is driven by, requests. You have to say that you have to think about the fact that there aren't as many appraisal credential holders as there are, let's just say, electricians or, one of the larger ones, real estate, if they have to take it through there. I don't know who else takes it, but I'm just saying that is probably a large portion of it in terms of availability. I will follow up to see what, if anything, can be done, but I know they have been a vendor for quite some time. I don't know what the process is or procedure is in terms of making a, I'll say complaint, if you will, about the availability for appraisers, but I will follow up.
I think there's two things here. I think it's not just what you just said, the availability for appraisers, but two, is the lack of response to us,
Yeah.
because we just had somebody else. We're gonna have more people that are gonna want to take this test. This doesn't seem right. Am I wrong, Jerry?
No, I'm not disagreeing. It sounds like it's a catch-22, so we're going around the circle. My concern is, it sounds like combination of Debbie and Vicky are on this to address it. The one thing I think for Mr. Nardini, let's call it what it is here. We gave him a 90-day window. We may want to seriously consider giving him an extension off of that, because by no fault of his situation, he may be caught into a mess here, if you know what I'm saying, trying to make the availability. Mr. Darnay, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, and this is just from the public standpoint, you guys know better than I. My position always has been, if PSI is open and you're allowed to go in and take some other exam, these exams are computer generated. Why shouldn't the general appraiser exam be available on a, I don't want to say a daily basis, but maybe at least more than within a 90-day period, they have one exam available. And maybe that exists through, I guess, maybe this liaison person that I'm not aware of. I don't have that information. But it was very difficult to schedule this exam. I have to tell you that.
Well, your question is valid and pointed, and I think we're all thinking the same thing. We're all on a similar page here. You have an exam, and correct me here. You're scheduled for March 1st, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And your 90-day window was to expire on when?
The 15th, I believe it was.
Okay. Our meeting in March is on what date, folks? March 8th. So kind of right in between.
Can I make a suggestion, Jerry?
Go ahead, John.
Well, if he takes the tests, I'm sure he's gonna pass it, right?
I
Joe?
hope I do.
Okay, but since this situation, and who knows, there might be a snowstorm, et cetera. Why don't what if I just made a motion now to extend them another 3 months? And that's one motion, and maybe something second. And the other thing is that we asked Debbie and Vicky to kind of research this. So going forward, Debbie has a more delineated path to take when something like this comes up to resolve it, rather than having all this come back to the commission and everything else.
I think, well, why don't you make your motion first?
I make a motion that we extend Joe another, Mr. Nardini, another 3 months beyond what we already gave him.
So the
I'll
June
second it.
15th, the June 15th, John?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Norris, can you second that?
I'll second it.
All right. Any discussion?
I just wanted to ask a question in terms of the process. When he goes on the 15th and he takes the test, do you get your results right then and there? I mean, at
Yes.
this, okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you needed to make another appointment, you could make it before you left. When you have somebody's attention, or no? Let's just say you didn't pass.
No. The only way they make appointments is either online or on the phone, but the phone is, as Deb already alluded to, and I've said the same thing, you don't ever speak to anybody. You could stay on the line forever, you just don't ever speak. So you have to do it online. The problem with online is you can't just put that you want to do a general exam, the certified general. You have to go through each month because they only have them on certain days. So you can't just say, I want to do the certified general. You have to check January, you have to check February, you have to check March, you have to go through the whole month to check. And that's how I got to the March 1st date. I went
Well,
through
maybe
all the,
you might want to go back and pick a second date just in case, because it may not be until 6 months from now. We may not be able to make any change between now and when it is you may have to take.
I understand, I understand, and I probably will do that. But I have to wait for the commission, I think, to extend that to June
Yeah.
15th before I can do that. Thank you.
Any other questions or thoughts and discussion amongst commission members on this matter? From staff? General public? Okay, I'll call this to vote here. I'm sorry, Norris, you were going to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ayes?
Did somebody
Aye.
second it? Aye.
Yeah, Norris did. Okay, ayes, okay. So, Mr. Nardini, you have, till June 15th. Okay, we've done, added another 3 months here, given the, I hate to use the word unique, but it is a unique circumstance, and I'm afraid to say might become, unfortunately, a common thing that we got to get to the bottom of. So,
And I thank the commission very much for their time and for their efforts. And I guess, Deb, I just will remind you now, I guess we have to let PSI know that I've been extended till June 15th.
Yeah,
So if
as soon as the meeting's over, I'll contact the person in licensing, who will then send your name over with the extension date. And also I'll try to see if I can find out from her who the person is that oversees the overall contract with PSI, and get some information on that for the next time. But good luck. I know you're going to
Thank you.
pass. I know
Thank
you'll
you. Thank you
pass.
very much. Thank you. Good luck. Thank you.
All
very
the
good,
best.
very good. Thank you now. Be
Yep.
well.
You too.
All right, so that takes care of number 3 as well, Deb, that you had on there. 2 and 3 kind of went hand in hand on the agenda.
Yes.
So, all right, great. Number 4 under old business, Perea presentation. Scott DiBiase and Jackie Bouchane, are they available? They'd asked for them to make a presentation today before us.
They're both here. I'm just going to promote them.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you very much, Chairman Rasmussen, commissioners, agency staff. Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. I appreciate the opportunity to be here again before you this morning to continue the discussions that we've had previously regarding the practical applications of real estate appraisal and whether it will be accepted in Connecticut to satisfy the experience requirements and as an alternative to the experience requirements that are necessary for the licensed residential and certified residential credentials. I know we've had several different discussions on this topic over the last couple of months. As I recall, there was also a presentation that you had from the Appraiser Qualifications Board on PREA. So I don't think it's really necessary to start at the top and go through all of the basics around PREA as to what it is, why we have it, and what it's intended to accomplish. I think all of you probably have a pretty good understanding at this point as to exactly what the gist of PREA really is. One of the outstanding questions that we had over the course of the meetings where this was discussed is wanting to actually see a PREA program in real life to see exactly what the program entails, how participants would interact with the program, and basically just you all have the ability to be able to quote unquote kick the tires on it before making any decisions whether to move forward and whether PREA will be acceptable in Connecticut. So I do have a video a video demonstration of the Appraisal Institute's PREA program that I would like to share with the commission and with staff and with the public. And it's about 15 minutes long, but it is a very comprehensive overview and demonstration of the AI PREA program that is still very much under development. So some of the things you'll see in the video demonstration are subject to change and improvement. But I think it is a good indication at this point of what our PREA program is likely to look like when it's finalized. So before we get to the video, just didn't want to update the commission a little bit on where things stand nationally. So far, there's 36 or so states that have indicated acceptance of PREA to satisfy the experience requirements. And all but 2 of those states, California and Kansas, have indicated that they'll accept PREA to satisfy 100% of both the LR and the CR experience requirements. We are continuing to work with the folks in California, and I'm confident that ultimately they will accept it for 100% as well. The same is true in Kansas. So more or less at some point, all of those 36 states, I think, will have indicated acceptance of PREA for 100%. We're continuing to discuss PREA with the remaining 19 jurisdictions that are in various different stages of those discussions. Some are a little bit farther along than others. And that's why we are here before you this morning to continue those discussions on PREA and continue to answer any questions, but more importantly, to show you the video. Our PREA program, the AI PREA program, is very well under development. We're actually coming to the conclusion of the development phase. We're anticipating being able to submit our program to the Appraiser Qualifications Board for their review sometime in the March to April timeframe. And of course, there'll be some modifications and feedback that we'll get from the AQB that will necessitate some changes and modifications to the program, which will take a little bit of time. But we are still on track for delivery of the PREA program on or before September of this year. And like I said during previous meetings, what our hope is that all of the regulatory framework will be in place so that aspiring appraisers in Connecticut can utilize approved PREA programs on the day or as close in proximity to the day that they come to market in September. And of course, that's something that the commission needs to get involved in terms of writing the necessary rules. I think we've looked previously and it does not, I don't think, necessitate a legislative change, which I think makes the process all that a little bit more streamlined, since it will be just a rulemaking and regulatory process. But that process too does take time. So we just wanted to move the conversation along here a little bit and respond to the commission's previous request to be able to take a look at the PREA program, at least ours that's under development. I can't speak for other providers and what their programs are going to look like, but we have put this video presentation together and have been showing it to various state boards, state agencies, and commissions around the country, and have, based upon them having seen the video, been able to make some additional incremental progress on PREA in those various states. So with that, Mr. Chair, if it is okay, I would like to start the video, and hopefully there aren't any technical glitches. I did this yesterday for a different state board and it worked out okay. So
Go ahead.
so hopefully it will, the same will be true here. So stand by 1 second and I will get everything ready and we'll go forward. And the sound should be coming through as well.
Welcome to this appraisal experience program for licensed
Everybody
residential.
can see it okay?
Yes.
This program will help you practice your appraisal skills by presenting you with different appraisal assignments. The program consists of 10 practice assignments and 3 final assignments. The practice assignments will allow you to apply what you learned in the qualifying education modules in real-life situations. You will have mentor interactions at different points in the program. Complete all the steps in the mentor interactions within an assignment to mark the assignment as completed. The final assignments will be unguided and graded.
Welcome to an overview of the Appraisal Institute's practical applications of real estate appraisal program. AI PREA is an online program covering appraisal theory and methodology in real-world simulations.
Not sure what happened here. Ironically, the same thing happened yesterday. My apologies. We'll restart that and fast forward.
It happens to us all.
Research program. AI PREA is an online program covering appraisal theory and methodology in real-world simulations with mentoring from expert appraisers. In this overview, we will preview many of the research-based features of AI PREA that you saw in the opening animation. We'll look at practice assignments, immersive activities, the Knowledge Center, the critically important mentor guidance, and final assignments. Let's begin with practice assignments. PREA is about experience in real estate appraising, and as such, focuses on providing that experience through practice appraisal assignments. At both the licensed residential and certified residential levels, PREA participants complete 10 practice assignments, appraisal reports based on real properties using authentic data and following the valuation process that participants have learned during their qualifying education courses. A variety of property types are featured in the practice assignments, including single-unit residence, 2 to 4 unit, condominium, vacant land, and others. Within each property type, PREA participants must first complete a Level 1 assignment. Level 1 assignments are less complex, provide the participant with many resources, and offer rich system guidance and support. After completing a Level 1 assignment in a property type, participants must complete a Level 2 assignment. Level 2 assignments are more complex, require the participants to find or analyze resources more thoroughly, and offer less system guidance and support. Mentored guidance, feedback, and review are always available and required for both Level 1 and Level 2 assignments. Let's take a closer look at a practice assignment. PREA participants see a cityscape view offering a variety of property types. The participant enters an assignment by choosing one of the property types. For the purpose of this demo, let's look at the vacant land property type. Once selected, the participant will see both the Level 1 assignment and the Level 2 assignment. The less complex Level 1 assignment must be completed in each property type before unlocking the more complex property type Level 2. Let's explore the Level 1 vacant land Hennepin Circle property. When you click on Hennepin Circle, you see the steps of the evaluation process. These steps serve as the conceptual scaffold that models expert performance and also allows a participant to track their progress through an assignment. When you click on the first step, you will see a brief overview of the property and a reminder about managing the many resources that are available or that you develop during the assignment. This is important because PREA models and requires that participants keep a detailed work file to accompany their final appraisal report, both of which must be submitted for mentor review at the end of the assignment. In Level 1 assignments, resources are provided at the point they are needed. In Level 2 assignments, participants must decide among many resources which are relevant, or find resources themselves using internet research. Participants experience a variety of interactions as they move through PREA. Since PREA assignments emulate real life, we start all assignments with an engagement letter. You review the letter to start making decisions about an assignment. For example, in Level 1 assignments, participants are required to identify the client and intended user in the engagement letter. Because we want to guide participants towards expert performance, they have 2 attempts for these kinds of interactions. They know if they get a response wrong after the first time around. Then they can try again. And if they still get it wrong, they will see corrective feedback, which tells them why a response is wrong or suggests they work further with their mentor. Another kind of interaction is the familiar multiple choice question. Here you are being asked, what are the competency requirements you must comply with for this particular appraisal assignment? Again, when you submit your response, you'll get feedback that gives you more information and allows you to understand the intent behind the question. Since each of the activities in an assignment is based on a realistic task, participants are also required to extract and analyze data from written documents, such as zoning and legal descriptions, and visual resources such as GIS and aerial data, and then derive information needed to complete the assignment. Note also that the system provides important guidance to participants to reflect contemporary appraisal practices. All of the PREA interactions support successfully completing the appraisal assignment. As participants progress through the steps of the evaluation process, they simultaneously complete the relevant reporting. In this example, participants would use the AI Reports Land Appraisal Report to complete the subject property identification and subject property history. As sections are completed, the report is uploaded to the system. For non-narrative parts of the report, once submitted, participants can see model answers for that section so that they can improve their response and identify any knowledge gaps as they proceed. For more narrative parts of the report that reflect essential parts of an assignment, where participants must analyze data, make conclusions, and explain their reasoning, we require that mentors review that section of the report in detail and offer corrective feedback if needed. This prevents a participant from proceeding too far into an assignment with critical conceptual misunderstanding or inaccurate analysis. Since all submissions are stored in the system, participants can also view the entire report as they work. This larger context provides the ability for the participants to track their progress or just as in real life, to make changes and updates to different sections as they learn more about an assignment. So one practice assignment is a series of questions and reporting designed on an expert model of the evaluation process. By completing several different practice assignments using a variety of property types, interaction types, and complexity levels, all in a realistic environment with both system and mentor guidance, PREA participants will generalize their knowledge beyond one particular setting. This generalized knowledge can then be transferred to the many different and novel situations that make up everyday appraisal practice. While a variety of practice assignments allows for generalized knowledge, there are some foundational skills that appraisers use on a frequent basis and must be able to perform quickly in a fluent and automated manner. To ensure competencies in these areas, AI PREA features immersive activities. Immersive activities offer rich 3D and 2D virtual environments for the practice of three particular skills: neighborhood analysis, measurement, and site inspection. In the neighborhood analysis activity, participants explore the important elements of a neighborhood. Participants begin with an aerial view and then zoom into interactive 360-degree perspectives to consider factors such as surrounding amenities. These might include primary and secondary schools, universities, shopping, parks, and athletic facilities. After exploring a particular area, participants can zoom out to see the area in context. In this way, they are able to explore the entire neighborhood in detail, one area at a time. In the site measurement activity, participants use a realistic 3D model and tools to measure a subject property following the latest ANSI standards. Participants explore the outside of the property to take external measurements, and then enter the property to take internal measurements. And finally, in the site inspection activity, participants walk through and explore a realistic 3D property and learn to focus on important elements and conditions necessary for a credible appraisal. As the participant moves through the property, hotspots appear with relevant questions as well as visuals related to typical site inspection tasks that appraisers do in everyday practice. Taken together, the immersive activities, neighborhood analysis, measurement, and site inspection provide the participant with significant practice and foundational skills used frequently in appraisal. In addition to the multitude of opportunities for experience and learning within the practice assignments and immersive activities, AI PREA features the Knowledge Center, a rich repository for supplemental resources. The Knowledge Center is an ever-evolving collection of tutorials, tools, documentation, standards, and resources for PREA participants. Current and planned Knowledge Center items include access to partner appraisal form software and partner MLS systems, tutorials on GLA calculation, market analysis, construction draws, and GIS, and links to resources from the Appraisal Institute, the Appraisal Foundation and USPAP, and federal agencies and the GSEs. With practice assignments, immersive activities, and the Knowledge Center, our program offers participants a variety of resources. However, experience and learning do not occur alone in a vacuum. The true cornerstone of AI PREA is its mentors and their collaboration with participants throughout the program. Mentors are required to meet not only the Appraisal Foundation's requirements, but also additional Appraisal Institute requirements that significantly weight contemporary residential practice, knowledge, and technology, along with the professionalism and ambassadorship of Appraisal Institute designation. Each individual PREA participant will be assigned a mentor when beginning the program. Mentors are available for formal support and guidance at all times while the participants are completing the practice activities and immersive activities. In addition to initial and ongoing training, mentors will be provided with detailed information for each practice assignment, which highlights its critical experience and learning aspects. In addition, we anticipate providing mentors with resources to coach participants on other aspects of an appraisal career, such as securing their first job and diversifying their practice. Mentors also serve as an important resource to evaluate the quality of participant work. At the end of each of the practice assignments, participants upload a completed report and work file. AI Perea requires mentors and participants to then meet virtually to review the report. During this mentor check-in, mentors use objective performance rubrics to offer feedback on the report. If significant deficiencies are found, the mentor can request improvements before accepting the report. Finally, after completing all of the Perea practice assignments and immersive activities, using the resources of the Knowledge Center and mentor guidance, the participant is eligible to begin working on the last component of AI Perea, the final assignments. For both licensed residential and certified residential, participants will complete 3 final assignments. The required property types are a single unit residence, a 2 to 4 unit, and a condominium. The assignments must be fully USPAP compliant. Final assignments also have 3 other critical features. Unlike practice assignments, the final assignments must be completed by participants independently and without substantive mentor assistance. Upon submission, each final assignment will be evaluated by an independent grader who is not the participant's mentor. And finally, reasonable opportunities for resubmission will exist. Upon acceptance of all 3 final assignments, AI Perea participants will receive a formal certificate indicating successful completion of the program. We believe that AI Perea's research-based design, featuring mentor interaction, practice assignments, immersive activities, the Knowledge Center, and final assignments will provide participants with the experience, knowledge, and skills they need to confidently and competently advance to the next stage of their appraisal careers. The Appraisal Institute looks forward to being the leader in this process.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members of the commission and staff for your indulgence while we showed that video that is a little bit lengthy. I apologize for that, but I think it is a good preview into what our Perea program is going to entail. So with that, I'm happy to answer any additional questions. I know that Jackie Bouchain is also on the line. I'm not sure if she has anything that she wants to add before we get to questions, but Jackie, anything else that you'd like to add?
No, thank you, Scott. I will defer. We have some members of the chapter on that are available to, I believe they want to say a few words about it when the time is open for discussion. But thank you, Scott, for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Excellent. Thank you, Jackie. And we'll look forward to the comments and input at the chair's discretion, of course. But I am happy to answer any questions from members of the commission, staff, or the general public, if that's the will of the board.
Yes, thank you very much. What we're going to do is we're going to break out questions for all 3 segments, Scott, as you just mentioned. So I'm going to start with the staff first. Anyone on staff, any questions that you would like to present or ask here?
When do you anticipate getting this up and available?
Yeah, we have a delivery commitment of September of this year. That is part of our contract with the Appraisal Foundation and is a condition of the grant that we received from them to assist with the costs of developing our Perea program. I can tell you that at this point we are somewhat ahead of schedule and are anticipating submission to the AQB for their review and approval in March or April. So it is very possible, although please don't hold me to it, that our program will be available, fully approved and ready to go forward in the marketplace sometime before September of 2023, but certainly no later than that date.
Good. Any other staff questions? Hearing none, I'm going to open this up to the general public before the commission members start, because I'm sure I have a number of questions, and I would assume John does, and Norris as well. So we're trying to share it before we may dominate it here. So any general public, from the general public, questions on this matter? I see Mr. Hurlbut has his hand up. Can we open him up his microphone so he could present the question?
Yep, he's all set.
Thank you. Mr. Hurlbut, the floor is yours. You may be on mute. I don't know.
Nope, he's off mute.
Okay. Mr. Hurlbut?
Let me try one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah, he should be able to talk. He has all the permissions.
Okay. Steve, the floor is yours. We may be having a technological issue, so with his microphone. While we're working that out, is there any other questions from the general public?
Got another hand raised. Let's see, from Jennifer O'Neill. There we
Okay.
go.
Ms. O'Neill, the floor is yours.
Thank you. You can hear me okay?
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I've gone to a couple other presentations on this, and as an appraiser in Connecticut, I'm in favor of the program, and I've actually signed up to be a mentor. And when you sign up as a mentor, it doesn't mean that I will necessarily mentor someone in Connecticut. It could be someone anywhere in the country, as far as I understand. And there is also training available for the mentors. But I just wanted to note that it is a program that the appraisers in Connecticut are supporting.
Thank you. Anything more, Jennifer or Ms. O'Neill? I'm sorry.
No, I think that's it. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you. Are we able to get Mr. Hurlbut on, or?
He has all the permissions, so I'm
Okay.
thinking it's on his end that it's not working.
Fair enough. Are there any other, while we work it out, whenever Mr. Hurlbut is come, just let us know and we'll take it from there. Are there any other questions from the general public? Okay, hearing and understanding that Mr. Hurlbut at some point, when we can work out the technology, you know, please let us know and we'll get his question in. Mr. Galvin, I know that you are picking up your cup of coffee, or let me start right here. I'll let you clear your throat here, okay? But Norris, do you have any questions that you'd like to put forth at this time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask Vicky a quick question. Vicky, would this be a statute or reg review? Putting a program in this.
I believe there is going to be a statutory change. I do believe that there has to be a statutory. Yeah, I do think so.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it may be a simple one, but I think there is either statutory or regulatory. There will be some legislative change. Anything that affects anything that we do has to either be put in the statute or the regulation. So I know that there has to be something that will either be included or taken out or revised in some way. So it may not be anything major, but I do anticipate there being something. And with this being rolled out in September, it would be in time, of course, for our legislative session, if need be. If it's statutory, if it's regulatory, then it's all year round, so it doesn't matter. But yes, I do anticipate there being something that has to be done.
Because the session ends in May this year.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So we would know, Vicky, by off of Norris's question by May, that if we were to proceed, moving forward, everything is copacetic here.
Well,
With,
once you guys have made your determination in terms of what, what you determine you want to do, 100%, 80%, whatever your determination is, and we would have to draft something that coincides with your desire, if you will, and then submit that for review.
okay. And that's usually a 60-day process, Vicky, on any matters, 90 days, what is the?
Well, we
the
only
typical
accept statutory changes, and we get our statutory changes in August. So if it's going to be a statutory change, it's August. If it's a regulatory change, meaning we just change the regulations, that can be done year round.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Mr. Chair, if I could just chime in here, I think with a request, if that would be okay.
Please.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess the question and the request that I would have is if this is something that the commission decides that they want to move forward with, could we get, some indication from Ms. Bullock sooner rather than later as to if there is a statutory change that's going to be required and what that statutory change would entail, so that we can pursue that during this legislative session, which I think just recently began, so that, and if there's a statutory change, that's not an easy process.
Right, that is correct. If it is a statutory change, it won't be done this year only because our statutes have already been submitted. If it's a regulatory change, which is, we hope we can do it through regulation, it can be done anytime, all year round. So there's no restrictions in that regard. I'll get clarification, but yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, because if it's a regulatory change, and the commission decides to move forward, then we'd like to get that process started. If it's a statutory change, then it's a little bit different.
Excuse me, Scott. Have you already done a statutory change in any other states?
Yes.
Can you send that paperwork over?
Yes, I believe I actually sent all of that.
Oh, that's
language.
right. You already did. Yes, you did it before. Yes, I'm sorry about that.
No
I
worries.
remember I looked at it, but I'm also, yep. Okay. Yeah, I understand. Yep. Thank you.
Norris, any other questions?
No, thank you.
Well,
I
let me
appreciate
say
it.
this. Norris, you may have, can you send it to me again, Scott? I apologize. I know we have the Utah legislation relative to the AMC stuff. I'm not sure about the.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a compilation.
No, Scott, the only reason why I said that is, if we've seen what you've done in other states, you could put an amendment on a bill.
Yeah.
Before the legislative session ends. So I just want, like I said, I'll go back and look because I do remember that you did send something. So,
and I'm happy to send it again to Vicky and Debbie for dissemination to the committee members. It's a compilation of all of the various laws and regulations that have been put in place so far as it relates to PREA, and we can certainly, model something in Connecticut after what's already been done.
That's helpful to me. Thank you. Thank you,
thank
Norris.
you.
Thank you, Norris. Also.
Okay, great. John?
Yeah, so I've been putting a lot of thought into this, so I want to make it clear to the public and to the commission and to Scott that as a businessman, I'm in support of this, but as a commission member, I'm not in support of this. Okay, right now. And the reason is because of this public trust that we have to uphold. We see, we got a couple of logs to review of work experience coming in. I've trained people, et cetera, and I'm concerned that I'm really concerned that the educational process of becoming an appraiser at the beginning stages is getting watered down. We already have issues of people not being able to pass the test, and my concern is that with something like this, that this is just so I'm apprehensive that it's not going to pan out, and we're going to have more liquidation of, or whatever the word you want to use, of the quality of our of appraisers coming out of the gate. And once they get certified, they can hang a shingle and go anywhere they want. And we have you heard Debbie earlier about the issues we have, 13 pending cases in 1 month, which is ridiculous. So I am for, I'm not going to say I'm opposed it at all, because I think it's something that's necessary. Because we just don't have enough people getting properly trained. So if there is some more formal education involved in the beginning stages, so be it. My question, the concern now is how much do we give weight to that in the certification process? I personally do not think it's necessary to do a legislative change. They've looked through this already. There may be a wording or something, but we don't have to address that this year. I think it's just a regulation change, and I think the regulation change is to our benefit because it gives us the flexibility to keep changing that, because it's not just your school, Scott, it's others programs that are going to be coming out afterwards that we have to keep monitoring, and I think the regulations give us more control over that going down the road. The first question I have in your when you were going through your presentation does, and by the way, I commend you also for constantly being able, whatever the legislation issue is, of being on top of all the states, and you've sent us stuff over the years of different other legislation stuff too, so I appreciate that. But the use PAP, we have standard 1, we have standard 2. Standard 1 is the appraisal process, which you're actually, and then standard 2 being the communication of that. How much writing is actually in this? In the old days, we would actually have to sit down and write out answers and question, these blue books and stuff like that. And of course, we had the demonstration report, which was very detailed and stuff like that, which was, those of us who have gone through it, was, a huge source of our education and foundation as appraisers going forward. Is it all forms? I mean, I know on the residential side I can see it, but on the commercial side, is there a lot more narration than what we just saw? Will we have an opportunity to see some more samples of what the format's going to be?
The answer to the question is yes, there are narrative portions, and I readily admit that the video is deficient in showing the narrative parts of the PREA program. It's not simply check certain boxes and fill out forms. There are narrative neighborhood descriptions, market analyses such that have to be written and then ultimately reviewed by the mentor. And the final assignments are graded by another independent mentor. So it's not just click and fill. There is some writing that is involved. And you all as commissioners would still have the prerogative to review those 3 final reports like you do normally for folks that come through the supervisor trainee model. So you'd be able to see some of the writing. And that's a requirement of the Appraiser Qualifications Board. They've put in place a very specific framework and guidelines for what PREA programs need to include, and writing is a significant portion of it. And you would certainly have the opportunity to see PREA programs either before or contemporaneously with the time that they're being reviewed by the AQB. I wish I really had more to show you at this point, but this is this is what we have now. We may have additional demonstrations or further demonstrations moving forward. But directly to your question, yes, there is writing involved.
Are the mentors paid?
That actually is a very interesting point. And when Ms. O'Neill mentioned that she had applied to be a mentor, we've actually changed that model. The mentors now will be full-time employees of the Appraisal Institute. We anticipate hiring 7 full-time employees. That number could change based upon participation. There's a number of different reasons why we had to switch to the FTE model, not the least of which is some legal guidance that we got in relation to independent contractors versus employees. So the mentors will be employees. There'll be a director that is responsible for supervising those mentors. So there'll be a very strict reporting structure. They'll still be required to be MAI designated, or excuse me, designated appraisers, not necessarily MAI, designated appraisers, and fulfill all of the other requirements of being a mentor. Just the employment relationship will be a little bit different.
Will they be required to be licensed in a state?
Absolutely. Certified, not licensed, certified.
Certified, yeah, okay. And on the you're coming out in November, September. Are any of the states talking about kind of like a partial, not a partial approval? I mean, you're asking us to, I mean, your ultimate goal is that we accept PIREA in for the whole experience work log process, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any states considering accepting PIREA, but still requiring an appraiser to do a handful of appraisals within the state? The reason why I asked that is I'm really focused on geocompetency, which we don't have a definition for anywhere. I wish USPEP would define it. But, you know, because my concern is I saw your graph, and if someone's doing an office building and doing this and doing that, they still have to know our area. One of our issues we have is people submitting work from out of state that don't have much experience in the state, and you can read it in the reports. So are there any states looking to do any kind of partial thing?
There are only two at this point, and one of those is reconsidering their initial decision. California had initially decided to accept PIREA to satisfy half of the appraisal experience requirements, and then the remaining half would have to be done through the traditional supervisor trainee model. The problem is that you haven't really solved the issue that PIREA is intended to resolve, which is the lack of people who are willing to supervise trainees. If somebody still has to go out and find a supervisor for 500 or 750 hours, there's probably not going to be an incentive at all for them to go through a PIREA program. They might as well just go out and find that supervisor at the outset and go through it that way. That's why I think that 34 out of the 36 states have just said we'll take it all, or if you want to continue doing the supervisor training model, that's still an acceptable alternative. And I can tell you that there are no other states that have said that they would require additional reports above and beyond what is part of PIREA. And as to the point about geographic competency, I hope you'd think about it this way. When somebody comes in to Connecticut and seeks to obtain a reciprocal license, they don't necessarily have competency in appraising properties in markets in Connecticut. However, they're required to become competent before they can complete those assignments. So PIREA, I don't think, would be any different. And PIREA actually teaches folks how to know whether they are competent and how to become competent in specific markets. The other issue, and I think I've brought this up previously, is think about somebody that has receives all of their training with a supervisor who does only single family properties in a specific part of Connecticut. And then they go out on their own and they're tasked with, or go to work for another company that only does condominiums or only does 2 to 4 single family residences in, let's say, a different geographic part of Connecticut. They're not necessarily competent at that point to appraise those properties because all of the experience that they have is only single family in another area. But they do have to become competent in that property type and in that market area before they complete those assignments. So PIREA is not really any different in that respect.
Yeah, I understand those arguments, and I agree with them all. I'm not thinking 400 or 500 hours, 600 hours. I think that would be ridiculous, because I think if, as a business person, if someone came to me and took this, I still would want to have that trial period. I'm wondering if, what I'm leaning towards, and I'm saying this out loud, is that, maybe we just, if we accept it, that they still got to go out and do maybe 3 appraisals or something like that and come back and show us, et cetera, under somebody. So that's something I
think that's a very, very valid option. And I don't think I necessarily an AI wouldn't be opposed to that. You know, for them to submit, let's say, demonstration reports, for lack of a better term, that's certainly something that the commission could do.
All right, I have other questions, but I don't want to waste too much more time because I think I can just maybe make a phone call and get them answered. So I'm all set, Jerry.
Okay, thank you. Let's try again for Mr. Hurlbut. Is he able to be on, or he had a
Yes,
question?
can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Oh, good. Sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Just want to get my 2 cents in. When I heard about this program, I was excited. Being from a lending institution, it's tough to get people coming up because, you know, that we don't do our own appraisals, but we need reviewers. So now I just hired somebody on from an accounting area that wants to get going in this, but can't really provide him with appraisal work per se, more review work. But we, you know, as he learns, I can probably get him more work and more appraisal work. And it's more cost effective for us, or more enticing to have internal reviews done. It saves the borrower money. So if we can get people up and trained to review, but there's never been a vehicle for them to really want to come on board, because, you know, we haven't been able to train them. So I totally support this program, and I would be a mentor if needed, or what else, you know, whatever's needed. I think a lot of the lending institutions would really benefit by this.
Very good. I don't want to cut you short. Is that all, Mr. Hurlbut?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. All right. I guess my turn. So I'm glad I let everyone go, because I've been crossing out questions that I had. So where people have already asked them. Scott, taking a look here, what's the cost for the applicant on something like this?
Yep, that's a question that comes up virtually on every presentation, every board meeting I attend. The answer to that question is I'll have to get back to you. And the reason for that is that we have completed a pricing study that is going to guide our pricing strategy. And that is still under review at this point. I am actually going to Chicago tomorrow for a coordination meeting, and I'm hoping that some of the decisions will be at least made as recommendations to the decision makers within the Institute coming out of that meeting tomorrow, and that I'll have a better understanding and better knowledge of what the pricing structure is going to look like. A couple of points on that, three really. One is that we are doing everything that we can to make the cost as low as is possible, so that it does not become a financial burden on anyone that wants to engage in our PERIA program, or quite frankly any other PERIA program. There will be a lot of money out there through various different entities for scholarships, grants, so on and so forth, whether it's through the Appraisal Institute's Education Trust. I know the Appraisal Foundation is looking at putting together a scholarship program that is geared primarily towards underrepresented communities, communities of color, veterans, women, so on and so forth. And the U.S. Congress is actually considering some legislation right now that would authorize the appropriation of some money to historically Black colleges and universities, as well as some other entities for grants and scholarship for people to get not only their qualifying education, but also to go through a PERIA program. We are, that we're looking at it really from a long-term, hopefully revenue perspective, rather than upfront tuition to offset our development and operating costs. And what I mean by that is we are hoping, obviously, that someone coming into the profession would go through the AI qualifying education, then go through the AI PERIA program, ultimately pass the exam and begin their career, but that they would continue that relationship with the Appraisal Institute throughout their career, and ultimately get on the path to designation, and stay within the framework of the Institute for their entire career. And I think you can see that we'd make up the revenue in the long term there in the form of membership dues and such. So it's not necessarily the upfront costs that I think we're looking at, specifically. And again, we're trying to make it as financially feasible as is possible through all kinds of different incentives, discounts, scholarships, grants, so on and so forth. And again, hopefully I'll have some better information on the actual cost sometime later this week or next. And I'd be more than happy to share that information with the commission as I'm able. Of course, keeping in mind there are some competitive concerns there. So we, maybe a little bit limited in the information that we can provide, but certainly a range I can provide. That won't be a problem.
Thank you. The presentation that you put forth here, the AI put together, will there be two different programs? One who an individual wants to go the residential path for a license or experience, or then another one for the general license experience? Or
Right.
is it one modulated, one program fits all?
Right now, Perea is only for residential. The AQB has not authorized the development of Perea programs for general experience. But we will have two separate Perea modules, one for somebody that is looking to become licensed, and one that is geared towards someone that is looking to become certified residential. So if somebody wants to become licensed, they go through the licensed module. Someone that wants to become certified residential will go through the CR module. The one difference that I think our program has from other providers is that if there's someone that's looking to upgrade from licensed residential to certified residential, they would have to go through the entire certified residential Perea module. It's not just an add-on to the licensed residential module, if you follow me on that. They are separate and distinct, and you can't just complete the LR and then let's say some additional portions of Perea to satisfy the CR requirements. Separate and distinct, and a participant would have to go through each of them in their entirety.
Okay, thank you. What is the time frame for an individual? What is the forecasted or target that we're looking for John Q. appraiser, candidate?
Yep, another very common question that I get. The answer to that question is that we are anticipating that it will take the average participant the same amount of time as it takes for them to gain their experience in the supervisor trainee model, meaning 6 months for someone that is seeking to become licensed and 12 months for someone that is seeking to become certified. Now, keeping in mind that amount of time is going to vary greatly based upon a couple of different factors. One is obviously the amount of time that the person is able to dedicate to working within the Perea program. If somebody can spend 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, obviously they're going to be able to get through it probably a little bit quicker than somebody who is only able to spend nights and weekends, let's say. That person obviously would take a little bit longer to complete the program. The other issue and the other factor is going to be the aptitude of the participant. There will be some people that will be able to get through Perea quicker than others, simply because they're able to grasp the concepts and the methods and the techniques and such faster than someone else who may need some additional guidance, some additional mentoring, some additional work within the Perea program. That person may proceed and progress a little bit slower than someone that's really, really sharp, understands real estate, understands appraisal, and can get through Perea a little bit quicker than others.
Okay. As you said, you're going to a meeting, I guess tomorrow out at Chicago, and whatever on the agenda, but are there areas, now that you're into this process, are there other areas that AI is looking to strengthen in this program? You came across a bump or two in the road that you didn't anticipate, or how are you addressing, just trying to get an idea, what happened unexpectedly to you and are you addressing it? Or what hurdle do you see that you still have to address between now and September?
Yeah, very, very good question. And honestly, I have to get with our development folks on that to see exactly, what areas they've been encountering some difficulties in. One thing, that I've recommended to them is, some of the graphics and things are a little bit rudimentary. And, with a little bit of programming expertise, they might become a little bit more visually appealing. That was one, the opening scenes there, I think are very rudimentary. But I'd really have to, I can talk with the development folks tomorrow and see, where they've made changes and improvements. And of course, while we've been working closely with the AQB during the development process, ultimately, when we submit our program, inevitably, they're going to have things that they come back to us with saying, tweak this, tweak that, before they can ultimately grant their approval. And I will say that video is about, at this point, probably 45 days old. So there have been, I'm guessing, additional changes that have been made.
Okay. You've said that you've gone through with 36 states. Is there, if you were to pick one and one only, a thing of support that you've heard from the states that they're happy with, and one only major concern that these other states have had with what we have with the program? Could you share that with us here?
Sure. And I think it goes back to Commissioner Galvin's point about competency, geographic competency in the state where the participant is intending to become licensed. That has been a very, a very abundant concern on the part of regulators. It's one that we've had to address very frequently. And, I think, everyone ultimately realizes that the supervisor trainee model doesn't really guarantee geographic and other competency as well. And the other point to remember is that there are, for better or worse, some bad supervisors out there. And I'm sure that you've seen their work. And if a trainee is taught the wrong way at the beginning, old habits are hard to break. And it's likely that they will have those bad habits throughout their appraisal career. And supervisors teach trainees in different ways, some good, some bad. And PREA, we think, will result in some standardization of the training that aspiring appraisers receive, so that it's, you've got somebody that has all of the required information and isn't getting it from various different, various different people and various different entities. Some of that information being good and some of it potentially being bad.
Very good, thank you. I'm going to we've spent nearly or close to an hour on this and all well invested. We said we were going to take as much time as needed here. I'm going to open it up one last time here for members of the commission, staff, and or public who may have heard something with a question or two. Are there any questions to be come forward?
I got a question.
Yeah.
Scott, on the coursework that's required, are there going to be any prerequisites that they have to take their courses before they start this?
Yep, that is an AQB requirement. And they need to complete all of their qualifying education. That meaning 150 hours of qualifying education for licensed residential and 200 hours for certified residential. And the reason for that is to make sure that somebody has all of that knowledge gained through QE that they can then apply as part of the PREA program. So they would have all of their education required for licensing at the time that they begin the PREA program. After they successfully complete the program, then the only additional step would be for them to pass the exam.
Okay, and will you be accepting coursework from other educational?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then I'm thinking of the question now is because I'm thinking of ongoing approval of everybody's classes like we do with all the other schools. And I know there's only I think there's 6 grants right now out for 6 programs.
There are 8 concept papers that have been submitted to the Appraiser Qualifications Board. Only 2 of those, I believe, are from providers. The other concept papers were submitted by appraisal management companies for their own internal panel and staff development purposes. And those programs won't necessarily be available to the general public. From what I understand, the only 2 programs that will be available publicly are the Institute's program and also McKissick. You know, I can't speak for other providers. There may be other programs under development that I'm not aware of. Submitting a concept paper to the AQB is not a requirement, but it is preferred. And that's how obviously we find out about the providers that are in the development process, but there may be others as well.
So as a commissioner and our staff, will we have an opportunity when you get this course more finalized? Will there be either a more expanded tutorial or a demonstration or something that we can go in and just poke around and get a better feel for?
Absolutely. You know, we will make our program available to commissioners and staff, much like we make all of the materials for our qualifying education available to you as well. The one difference being that in this case, the PREA programs will be approved by the AQB and not by individual states. And the way that I want you to think about this is the course approval program. Right now, if a provider submits their materials and their course information and such to the course approval program, and they get approval for their QE and their CE from the CAP, generally most states will accept that CAP approval without any additional layer of review. And I think the same will be true with PREA programs, where we will ultimately submit our program to the AQB for their review and approval, and then we'll not have to hopefully submit to 55 different jurisdictions for their review and approval independently. I think you can see that that would add significantly to our development and operating costs if we had to go to 55 jurisdictions. So we're asking states to really put their faith, and I understand it is a leap of faith, put their faith in the AQB that they are only going to approve high quality programs that meet all of the criteria that they've put in place. So that the ask that we are making of state appraiser regulatory agencies and boards and commissions is to approve the concept of the acceptance of PREA, not actually approving individual PREA programs.
Correct, I got that.
John, any other questions?
No, I have some more, but I don't want to keep bogging down. There's trivial stuff that I think are going to get answered over time, or that maybe I can answer myself doing a little more research. Thank you, Scott, for this.
Thank you, Commissioner Galvin.
Are there any other questions? Oh, I see there is, Eli has got his hand up. Can we please give him access? Yes, we can.
Can you hear me okay? Oh, thank you. I too was having a little trouble with the mic. I just wanted to thank the commission. Thanks, Scott, for the presentation, and would too like to express my support for the program. I think, you know, I applaud them for putting something like this together. We all know that we've had our troubles in the past with getting appraisers licensed, certified, and getting people into the profession. So I believe that this is a step in the right direction. And by that, I mean, like we've laxed the necessity for a college degree, et cetera, changed the hours. So I think this is another step in the right direction to offer another avenue. And as you know, the current serving president of the Connecticut chapter will do anything we can to support this program and get the word out. But look forward to more meetings like this where ideas can be thrown and options created for how to perfect this program so it works for all, and we get, you know, good professionals out of the program who are not just running around doing crazy things with appraisal. So, and like John said, instill the public trust. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak and support the program.
You're more welcome, and thank you for your input. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, I want to say thank you to Scott. I want to say thank you to the staff, always, my lord, my fellow commissioners, and the general public for taking the time out of your busy days and to also speak up and voice your opinion on the matter. Since we are missing 2 of our 5 sitting current commissioners, what I would like to do is I think we also have, is it a reg change? Is it a, law change? All the things that we've got to deal with that. We do have a time clock ticking, no matter how one wants to tick it here. I would like to have this put on our agenda, and we're going to say whatever it is, yay or nay, in February. Gives every commissioner member that the 3 of us who are here today to think about it and, do a little extra research if one wants to do that, but also give the opportunity to our other 2 commissioners who are not here today to weigh in. And I think the fairness to everybody, since we've been talking about this for some time now, and in fairness to our staff, that if we do proceed to go down there, what area we have to go through. Vicky is doing research on it, or will be, what avenue we can take, should take, have to take. We don't know, or I know at this moment, I don't know the answer to that, but we'll have all that information, and therefore we can take a vote and move it forward from there. Does my fellow 2 other commissioners, does that sound like a plan that is acceptable to you 2?
Well, go ahead, Norris.
I'm good. I agree with you 100%. And hey, John.
Yep.
You can go.
I
you.
agree with you, Jared, too. But can we discuss it? Kind of give Norris a call and then Vicky a call and stuff like that? Because
absolutely,
I think there's a multi-part here. I don't think it's going to be. I think we can. I don't know how it'll evolve next month, but I mean, I think there's the concept getting approved, which I don't think any of us have an issue to. I think it's an issue of how we approve that concept, and then the regulation or the statute. But I think next month we can actually decide if 2 things. I think we can talk about whether we're approving the concept or not, and 2, we can decide whether it's a regulatory change on a statute or if it's a regulation change. And again, like I'm leaning towards the regulation change.
Well, I hear you. We've answered a lot of questions, in the last few months. Today answered a lot more questions. A couple more questions have come up, in fairness to everyone here. It's just, it evolves. That's our process. But what I am concerned, and I don't want to just have this keep kicking down the road, and no one's making, at some point in time, we got a fish or cut bait. And we may come up, and I'll just use Vicky as she may come up with something because of our unique state laws or such that we may not be able to address till March because of whatever. I don't know. But doggone it, at least we are, it's forefront. We've had people take time out of their workday to voice their opinions on the matter here. And I just want to make sure our other 2 commission members don't get shortchanged on their opinion on the matter, especially since they both work primarily in the residential field. And that is near and dear to my heart, that I would like, they may have a concern or a support or a position that, as much as I've been trying to think of it here while we're going through this, that I didn't think of it. So they've had the opportunity. That's where I'm coming from. Okay. So I would like this to be put on for us for the February meeting, that we're going to address, whatever that address is, John and Norris,
Hey, Scott, can you send us an update of that ongoing document that you're working on with pertaining to this?
Yep.
And give it to Debbie, and then Debbie can circulate it to us? That'd be
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. I'll do so immediately after this meeting.
Thank you. And then if there's something that comes up between now and the next meeting, if you could just update.
it's very much a moving target. I'll try the best that I can to make sure you have the most up-to-date information as quickly as I can get it to you.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, everyone, for your time on this.
Thank you, commissioners.
You're more than welcome, and and thank you to the general public, and always, as I said before, thank you to our dear staff. Amen to that. For everyone's participation here on this matter, and it's ongoing. It's not shutting down. It's going to be something that we can address. Thank you very much.
I am sorry to interrupt. I have a question from Jackie. She is able to speak if she can ask something real quick.
Feel free. Floors. Go ahead, Jackie. I don't know if she has permission, but she did ask in the chat, is it possible for Scott to send the presentation to state so other commissioners can view it?
The answer to that question is absolutely yes. I can send the link as well as the password to your staff, and they can make it available to other commissioners and other staff. I would just ask that at this point, while it's obviously public information at this point, we'd like to keep distribution as narrow as possible. So just commissioners and staff only at this point.
Understand. Okay. Then I assume that was Ms. Bouchane's question?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Moving on now, we've addressed the old business. Now we move into new business. And we have number one, Michael Baldwin, RCG applicant. Please advise that the commission has selected the reports from Mr. Baldwin's experience log. Did you select anything here?
Yeah, I got a couple. Is he on here? He's not here.
Baldwin present today.
All right, well, I have a couple to select, but I was wondering if we could just talk about the log real quick, okay? Because I think this is a good example, the two logs that we have. We have one from Michael and then one from Rachel. And if you look at Michael's log, we get these logs in that start out in, this one starts out in January 2020, and it says what he did. And you pretty much go down to the last, was most recent one, and it's the same thing. The reviewer is even doing the same exact thing. So it's pretty generic, and you really can't see the progress or anything through the log explaining how they actually improved, which is, to me, is what the purpose of the log originally was. And then if you look at the other one done by Rachel Oseda, you can see that not only did she write down the different stuff that she did, but the supervisor also wrote down the work that he did too in this case. For instance, on February of 18, he writes down that he chose comparables, he wrote the report, he made adjustments and decided the final value. Where if you go to the last one, you'll see that, you know, it says, if I can get down there, all he had to do, the supervisor, was review the report, approve the comps, proof the report, and raise the final value. So he's still discussing it, but he's did it in the one before, approve the final values. So you can see where there's progress being made, where the appraisers actually, the provisional is actually making progress, and you can get that. We're on the first log. You don't get that. It just makes me wonder if someone's actually reviewing this person's work. Do we have any, has this come up before, Jerry?
Well, this is one of the first times, John, that we're seeing electronic signatures, if you look at logs.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's something, even though the law was written 25 years ago, and, you know, we've been doing with logs, it's how we're progressing in that. And in the format here, we have not had that. Usually we see what we see from the second one, as you said, from Mr. Grant's office. Okay. We have not really seen something like what we're having here. It does technically meet the minimum standards, John, that we have here. But your point is very well taken. And it's one of those things, though, that just adds on the burden, and I use that not as a negative, but a positive. It will be our responsibility to ask more pertinent questions during the interview process when they come before us with their experience because of what's put in here. That's how I'm viewing it, okay? You know, when I was flying, you know, and on the plane looking at these, the kind of, you and I are very similar thought process. I thought it was just me, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm coming from.
All right, so on Michael's log, I have 4 that I would like to ask for. I'm gonna ask for a few more, but Jerry, since his stuff is from all over the place, New Jersey, Brooklyn, can you pick 1 or 2 that are from another area that, you know, even Stanford or something that you might be more familiar with?
I will do so. You take care of yours, and then I will jump on here in just a second, okay?
You ready, Debbie?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to see 351-353 East Main Street, Waterbury. I believe that's Waterbury. I might have got that wrong. 60 Niles Street, Hartford.
60 Niles.
Yep, Street, Hartford. It's a multifamily. 57 North Main Street, Danbury, is an office condo.
Okay.
And 930 Dixwell Avenue and 27 Arch Street. And then the next appraisal is part of the same process, 20.
Wait a minute, wait.
I'm sorry, Deb.
930 Dixwell, what was the next one?
It's what the address on it is 930 Dixwell and 27 Arch Street, Hamden. That's one appraisal.
Okay.
And 20-26 Elizabeth Street, Hamden.
20-26 Elizabeth in Hamden.
And then I want to see something in his, can you ask him to give us one that has a cost approach in it?
Add one that has a cost approach.
I'm done, Jer.
Okay.
Hold up, please. Cost
Yep.
approach. Okay. John, can I just repeat that to you, make sure I got it all?
Yep.
Okay. 351-353 East Main Street, Waterbury.
Yep.
60 Niles Street in Hartford.
Yep.
57 North Main Street in Danbury. 930 Dixwell Ave and 27 Arch Street in Hamden. 20-26 Elizabeth in Hamden, and add one that has a cost approach. Okay.
Right. If there's a cost approach in one of those, that's fine. But if there's one that Jerry's going to ask for, that's fine. All right, I'm done, Jerry.
Okay, Jerry.
All right, then. I'm going to go on June 10th, 2021, 1200 Bedford Street in Stamford.
1200 Bedford, Stamford. Okay.
September 15th of 2021, 885 18th Avenue, Irvington, New Jersey.
Could you repeat the number?
Yeah, 885 18th Avenue.
Okay.
In Irvington, New Jersey. A lot of 8s there.
Yes. I lost a sale one time on all those 8s. Okay.
On January 26, 2022, 536. And it's YZNAGA Place in the Bronx.
YZANA Place in the Bronx.
Yeah. And then last but not least, January 2nd, 2022, 39 East 13th Street in New York. New York. That'd be in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've got June 10th, 2021, 1200 Bedford Street, Stamford, 91521, 885 18th Avenue in Irvington, New Jersey, January 26, 22, 536 Yazana Place in Bronx, and January 2nd, 22, 39 East 13th Street, New York, New York.
Very good. Yes.
I will send that list out, and then when he provides them, I'll email the commission, the entire commission, correct?
Yes, please. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Will
Okay,
do.
great. Very good. All right, moving to new business number 2. Kaleidoscope Education is seeking approval for the quiz questions they developed to go along with the new mandatory course 2022-2024 Connecticut Appraisal Law Update with Supervisory Provisional Education. I will say this, I'll open it up, and we've had the law 25 plus years in place, and this is a first. Okay, we offer it every 2 years in different schools, so this is a first thing. Members of the commission, have you reviewed this?
I looked this over and I'm okay with the questions, but I don't think we really have a right to ask. Do we have a right to? I mean, what's our authority here? I mean,
Well, John, here's a couple of things. They are providing, and Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, okay? I need you to jump in here. They are providing this, so they are trying to get IDAC approval. Am I correct under that?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have a requirement that it has to be IDAC approval, 1. 2, if they want to go do it, God bless them. The question's fine, because you know, one of the things that come into play, candidly, I don't know if it's going to receive IDEC approval, because there are certain standards you got to have, like minimum number of words in the class and so forth. That's not our issue. That is not our thing. What we say, and when we put it out, that's the minimum level that we have the course for them to cover. If someone wants to add and what have you, God bless them, you know, but I don't know if they want us to, are we approving these courses or questions? I guess we could, but I'm still scratching, you know, my head, driving a lot yesterday thinking, what are they trying to accomplish? And I'm not quite sure with that.
so my opinion on this is we don't do anything, because I don't think unless Vicky jumps in and says something otherwise, because we approved the class is done. We don't have any control over IDEC or anything else. And I just don't, you know, I don't think it's our place to do this. We don't have any say when we approve a class. We don't go back to somebody and say, hey, we say yes or no, and that's it. And that's with the class. We've already approved the class, the course. I don't think we should even make a comment on this. That's my opinion.
Norris, any thoughts?
I agree with John.
Yeah.
But I also want to hear what Vicky has to say. What does Vicky think?
Or Debbie? I want to hear both Vicky and Debbie. I want their input.
Yeah, both.
Well, I can give you a little background on why. I guess, well, we reduced the course, eliminated some of the redundant pages, so that ended up reducing the number of words. This was the only school that I've been in contact with that's had a problem with not having enough words for IDEC. And I did relay the message that this was prepared by Connecticut for Connecticut use only, and we were not concerned whether or not they got the IDEC approval, because we've already approved the course because we wrote it. But the person at this particular school just kept pressing. She didn't really understand that she could offer the course without an IDEC, just for this course only, which is why I put it on the agenda for you guys to discuss. It's not my place to tell her, you know, firmly, conclusively.
Vicky, thank you. Debbie,
I have to agree. I mean, it's like you said, this is the first that came up, you know, in the 25-year history of doing the course. I mean, she's not precluded from seeking IDEC approval. I don't know that you guys have to provide that. avenue for her to do that. That's a separate venue. That's a separate, process. In terms of the questions, if you think they're sufficient, that's fine, but I don't know that you necessarily have to give approval on those questions. But
I agree. I also think we
But,
start to cross the line into a business decision versus we're an education state business. That's an individual business decision they're trying to do. That's a red line to me. Go ahead, Norris, you were going to say something. I'm sorry.
But Debbie, you explained it to her, correct? You
I did explain
her.
it to her. Mm-hmm.
So then let's move on. We have no say in this.
That's
That's a business decision.
So,
Well, does she want us to write something up and tell her?
No,
we
she
have to write
just,
something up and tell.
no, she just offered the questions and said, do you approve of these questions? I'm not approving of the questions, which is why I put it on the agenda. So if you guys don't want to consider, I understand it's their business model with the questions, but you guys have to tell me, what should I tell her? Like,
I think
give me
the
a
thing
sentence.
to say is that this is beyond the purview of the commission.
Of the commission.
This is
Okay.
beyond the purview of the commission, period, done. And John, if there's something else more direct you want to say, but
I mean, otherwise, Debbie, I would say, if you have any more questions, pass it on to Vicky. But,
or direct a letter to the commission.
Right, but this does bring up another kind of point. The law module is something that we wrote, okay, that we're allowing other people educational programs to teach. What's stopping them from doing an addendum to our class? They can add something on.
Absolutely.
So, if she wants to add an addendum to the class, that's their choice. They're covering our law module, and if they want to cover something else that's part of their business model, that's their choice.
Okay. I will pass that information along.
Now, if they want to get 4 hours for that, they got to come back to us and ask for that additional hour to be added on. Right, Jerry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't think that's her question about the additional hour. Her question is about the questions that, the quiz questions, like meet your criteria so that it could be submitted to IDEC for approval.
We have no criteria, so we can't comment.
That's correct. I was just saying this,
That's right.
this issue is beyond the purview of the commission.
Okay, I'll tell her.
Very good. Thank you. There's always something that comes up, and that was a new one. Keeps us going.
Sorry to interrupt. I have a Jennifer O'Neill raising their hand. I didn't know.
Feel
That's
free.
fine.
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm going to allow her to talk right now. Let's see.
Sorry, it took me a minute to unmute. I just had a small question that we don't need to discuss in depth from before when you were talking about logs. Because I'm working with a trainee right now on logs, so it never occurred to me to make those, I'm gonna start doing it now, but making the comments on her progress right on the log for you. So I don't know if there's any, I don't know if that's private information, people's logs, but if there was a way to see different logs and give people ideas of what was preferable, or I'd be interested in putting together, even if it was an hour-long class on logs and what you guys are looking for so that other people were doing what you wanted. So I just wanted to kind of throw that concept on the table.
Thank you, Jennifer, for speaking up and putting something on the table. The log that we've had for all these years had the data, it's right there in scope of supervisor appraiser's review. There was a separate box that what John was relating to. The one that we got here on the other one it was like they put their own together here, and there really was not a comment or a section, as John brought up, what did they or did they not do, so as I said, that's going to put the onus on us. We should still have up on the webpage, and Lord, I hope so, that the model or the suggested, format is there. And there would be on the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth one over, before you give hours, scope of supervising appraiser's review. What did he or she, the reviewer, do? And it allows the supervisor to put in any comments, of what they did to help or whatever the case may be.
So what's like the one that you have currently up there, it's not anything more than that you're looking for, anything
That is correct.
complex?
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna loop back and look at whether my trainee made her own or got hers from the website.
Right. Yeah. Someone just, it's a different format. We'll leave it at that. Okay.
Okay, that's good. And obviously, if you ever needed something in that direction, I put down that I would help with that.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
If you make it for a 2 hours, class, it may be then someone could pick up some continuing education to be something to
Right.
consider.
That would be good.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Again, I thank you because I do not see who's got a hand up or what have you. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, and don't ever hold back, Jennifer, letting us know. Okay.
I don't have, under new business, I don't have Rachel Oseda's listed. Do I have to make a motion to add her?
It is, we have a concerning situation here. And to be candid, we should be reviewing things we have here beforehand instead of making ad hoc decisions without adequately reviewing things. Okay, we received yesterday afternoon something here and they want to have it to be active. Is she?
Oh, no, that's incorrect. I sent it out as soon as I got it yesterday, and you emailed me and asked me if it was for today, and I said, no, it was not added to the agenda, because who has time to go through all of those, that entire log, in overnight?
I did. I came in early to do it. I hear what you're saying, Jerry.
Okay, Debbie and I are on the same page,
Yeah, I
okay,
agree.
on this, okay? So if she had just received it yesterday, we've got to take time to look at it here and then to go forward, okay?
Going forward with my email, just so it's clear, I will put not an agenda item at the top so that you don't have to come in early, John.
I like John in early. It's good for him. Makes him youthful. Okay. Are there any other concerns from people presently today to bring something to the commission?
I would like to add something. So I've been getting a lot of inquiry lately in the past maybe 6 weeks or so much so that I feel I got to put it out there. These provisional applicants, before they get approved to be a provisional, when they're just at the beginning stage and they're inquiring, well, how do I find a supervisor? And I'm telling them, well, the easiest way I would think is to go to e-license, generate a roster, download, and just start making calls to see. But is there any way that maybe in the future we could put something out there for anybody who's interested in supervising RCGs, that we could have a list, just a narrowed down list that we can give to these people when they call?
Debbie, is your question a list of individuals who are willing to be a supervisor?
Yes.
That's been a business decision in the past by other folks. And there's that red line that I say that we don't cross.
Okay.
If John wanted to add somebody, that's his business decision. If I wanted to add someone and so forth, Linda or or whomever, I'm just, Shauna, that's their business decision. Once we start putting whatever list, it infers, right or wrong, that we've approved that. And that is not what we get into. That opens up a lot of legal liability, potential legal liability for the commission in the state. So
Good
we've
point.
got to,
I don't like that idea because it means we're approving that person as a supervisor
yes.
when we've had issues with supervisors coming here
Mhm.
in the past that have not been.
Right. I just didn't know if there
Maybe
was
that's
like,
something, no, maybe that's something that perhaps the chapter or professional organizations can do amongst themselves, but that's not something that the department can do, because as the commission has indicated, it sort of suggests that there is, approval, tacit approval, if you will, of the list that's comprised, and that is not what happens. If they generate the roster is everybody that has the ability based on being a credential holder. So the individual that's seeking, to have a supervisor would have to go through and make that determination on their own. So yes, the commission is very on point on that. So maybe perhaps the professional commissions could do it.
Vicky, they would be considered vendors of the state if we gave.
Correct.
Yeah, they'd be vendors.
Yes,
Is there,
So
is there a way, can somebody go to the website and print out a list of supervisors or a list of people who have supervised people before? Is that an option on the website?
I don't think so.
I don't think
really
so
don't
either,
think
but
so,
I'm
for
wondering
something like
if that might solve our problem. You can say, hey,
I don't know if that's the information that the department would even have as an additional field. That's that would have to be created. There's a couple problems that, right away.
all right, I went on a
Again,
tangent. I'm back.
What's that, John? You said you're back?
No, I went on a tangent there and I came
Oh.
back, so I'm
Oh,
back.
okay.
So I'm no more discussion. Just so you know, Debbie, that the people that they send me resumes, so I get resumes regularly from people or phone calls or emails. I always stop to take the time to talk to them, but I don't, and I save those actually because of the Department of Labor. I don't want anybody ever accusing me, so I have a file of those. But usually I give them a list of people to call, and if they're adamant, they end up somewhere.
okay, thanks. At least it gives me direction
Yeah.
on what to tell them, because I just keep getting calls and calls. Well, how do I find a supervisor? How do I find an appraiser that will And I said, you have to ask, generate a roster, get a list of names, go to the real estate agencies, talk to, see if we can get a name of an appraiser. If they're not willing to supervise, then ask, do you know of anybody who would be interested? And just, do your investigation that way. But I didn't know if there was an easier way, but no, I totally get it. And it's valid reasoning, in my opinion.
An offshoot of that, Debbie, to try to make your job a little easier in a job that's not easy. I would, a lot of thought last night on the plane thinking this through, is when someone wants to get on here and present something to the commission. Norris had mentioned before, John mentioned it last month as well. Because we've had people who have written a letter and therefore they send it to you, you send it to us, we're kind of prepped and we can take a look at what the issue may be and think about the pros, the cons, and so forth. We had Nora King, for example, had written something and you forwarded it to us. We were able to formulate something. There was the young lady wanting her experience running into some issue. I forget what state, but she put it well, she made a presentation, but we had already had a letter written on that. So when they come to you, can I put on, can I get on the agenda? I want to discuss something. Feel free, send a letter to you, and then you can forward it here. Therefore, it defines the issue, whatever the issue may be. I do believe that will save you a fair amount of time. I really do, as well as some time, but more you and the staff than it is for the commission. But at least we have an idea what we're talking about here. We can have at least put a few thoughts together, that we're not a decision maybe out of left field that we say, what the heck were we thinking, 2 weeks later, because we made a split second decision. That's all that I'm saying here. Something to consider. And I do think it will save you some time.
Thank you.
You had a couple things you said. That was one.
No, it was just a couple of, no, that's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Fair enough. Are there any other comments before us today? Citizens, staff, or members of our commission? Okay. Hearing none, can I hear a motion to bring this meeting to conclusion at 10:48 Eastern?
Hold on, hey, Jerry, we voted, yes on the courses, right? I don't remember.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
But I thought, yeah, 3-0, that's right. Yep, 2-0
Yep.
or whatever. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Norris,
Second.
John, comments? Vote ayes.
Aye.
Ayes. Guys, thank you. Debbie, you're getting more, it's becoming second nature for you here. You're drinking out of the fire hose, but not as much as coming through.
Yeah, well, you guys haven't broken me yet. Some of my stubborn Lithuanian heritage, I think, keeping me coming in every day.
And Jennifer, we'd like to say thank you very much for you jumping in. And, I know you have so much on your plate and this was added, but again, we want to say thank you.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right, then. Have a good month, folks. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye,
well.
everyone. Thank you.
Take care. Have a good one.